It's time to get real with Eddie, here to help you understand the changing real estate market and meet your real estate goals. Over 19 years in the business, 2018 Realtor of the Year, current president of Three Rivers, director at the Illinois Association of Realtors, and team lead of the Ruettiger Group at Baird Warner. Here's Eddie Ruettiger.
It's Tuesday at noon. Welcome to Get Real with Eddie. I'm Eddie Ruettiger from the Ruettiger Group at Baird Warner, and as always on Tuesday, we are here talking real estate. None other than with me is Nancy Valley from the Ruettiger Group at Baird Warner. Also, Nancy, how are you?
I am well, thanks, Eddie. How are you?
I am doing outstanding. And I have with me Karen Walsh, Vice President of Key Mortgage. Karen, how are you?
Good, Eddie. How are you?
Outstanding. What's that NMLS?
Number is 631443.
Outstanding. So, this came out last week, the day we were on air, and I didn't catch this article, but I wanted to bring it in this week. Biden takes aim at appraisal bias and housing disparities. And I have to be honest, on the appraisal side, absolutely. It's about time. I have had one appraisal where, I'm sorry, it should have appraised out. The comps supported it, but there was a definite bias in the appraisal because it wasn't in the side of town, so the appraiser didn't think it was worth that much.
You know, Eddie, there is some formulas out there that are like computer controlled with different programs that get ran through these appraisals, get checked through those parameters. But I wonder if the appraisers know what those parameters are. You know, so what is, you know, I mean, I think that agencies have tried to keep some of the bias out, but I still believe there is bias in these appraisals.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, this really gets me upset and really gets me under the collar, because a property should be, and if there is those systems or those things in the system, they need to be taken out. I mean, if it's because of certain this or certain that, you know, the basis is a house is worth what the same house has sold for within that same competitive area and market.
Don't get me wrong, I have had appraisals overturned by using those computer generated models.
And that's another issue.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
I have had it where we were able to go back and, you know, provide some additional information based on the findings ran through the Fannie or Freddie automated under appraisal system, where we could validate we believed that the house was worth some additional value, and had, you know, we have one on several of those.
So this was from Realtor Magazine. The Biden administration is zeroing in on home ownership and small business development as avenues to close racial wealth gaps, announcing a spate of new programs Tuesday aimed at supporting communities of color and disadvantaged neighborhoods. The announcement came on the centennial of the Black Wall Street Massacre in Tulsa, Oklahoma, a racist act on thriving Black community that left some 300 dead and 1,000 homeless in 1921. And I know a little history on that. That was just a disgusting act. There was literally people like dropping Molotov cocktails out of airplanes back then, believe it or not. It, like small planes or something. I don't know how they were doing it, because, you know, you're talking 1921. But they like bombed literally neighborhoods. It was just horrible.
It was literally a massacre.
Yeah, it really was. And the fact that this happened is really, really a disgusting act. But looking at reducing housing discrimination, the Department of Housing and Urban Development will launch a first of its kind initiative efforts to address inequality in home appraisals and issue aggressive rules to curb bias by the home buying process. And I don't know if there's necessarily there could be, you know, some bias in the home buying process. One of the things I do know that I don't do is like with my sellers do not get the name of the buyer. They get here's offer A, here's offer B, here's offer C. So they have nothing to generate that any kind of bias of what the buyer is. They don't have that name until they actually, yep, that's the offer we're going to go with, here's the contract.
I mean, and that's how it should be.
I agree. That's exactly how it should be. I see more of the bias in the home appraisal situation. And like I said, I had a listing on the east side of Joliet that was built in the late 1990s. All right? And it did not come in on appraisal. It should have appraised actually for over the accepted contract price. And it did not. And there was no justification, no reason. The comps they used were horrible comps, not even comparables. When you're talking a house built in the late 90s, they were using comps of the late 50s and 60s. All right? They were using stuff that was not updated, not upkept, not a concrete basement. They were using cement block. They were using limestone basements, stuff that would be even more of a cellar style. And I get it. You're in a location where there's limited comparables, but there has to be adjustments made.
I mean, and I think the big thing they always throw back at you is it's over improved for the area.
But it did not even appraise at what the top closed sale sold for. So if you're over improved for the area, wouldn't you at least be the top sale?
I would think so.
You would think, rationally speaking.
And I'm not saying going back.
And you would have to fight. Maybe you would have to fight and support to get there. But yes, if you were over improved,
Yes.
Right.
you should be the highest comp then. For the
So
Yes.
I wholeheartedly think the appraisal aspects need to be looked at. I really do.
Well, and you mean we just want to be able to understand it, and sometimes there's pieces in there that are just really hard to understand, and you think you understand, and then you have another one come in, and you're kind of told something different. So it's just, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you at all. There needs to be some better.
More consistency.
Consistency
because it's
is
very
a great
subjective.
word. Very
Yeah.
subjective.
It's
It is a
very
very
subjective.
subjective. It is a subjective business that we're in, and the appraisal process is the most subjective part of that business. I understand that, but I'm sorry. The going through that personally for my client, and what made it more hard to deal with the issue was my client was in a short sale position. So it tells you when this happened. It was some time ago, because we were really still coming out of the market collapse. And I want to say it was 2014. So we were just really hitting the coming up from the bottom at the time, but we still had tons of people struggling. And so adding in all the stresses you have from a short sale to this was just very, very upsetting. So, but the bank did end up accepting, and we ended up getting it closed, but it made it more stressful than it should have been for the seller. It really did. Opening up affordable housing opportunities is another initiative. A new neighborhood home tax credit to attract private investment in development and rehabilitation of affordable home for low and moderate income home providers. Additionally, a new $5 billion program called the Unlocking Possibilities Program will provide funding to cities that reduce barriers to producing affordable housing. And I think that would be a huge help. We keep running into what in the industry we refer to as the NIMBY effect. Not in my backyard. Okay?
Yep.
Well, yeah, we should build, but not in my backyard. I don't want it next to me. Well, it's got to go somewhere. And you need a diverse population and a diversity in income and a diversity in opportunity to get people and to bring all the ships up. And if you're not developing new opportunities for just like first-time homebuyers, affordability. I look at certain cities and they have housing stock that's starting way above what the county median price is, and they have housing stock that's starting way above what your average kid coming out of college. They can't even go back to their hometown and rent in some cases. So what that's going to do, these municipalities don't realize it, 20, 30 years down the road, okay, so I was born and raised in this town, and now I come back, but I don't want to go move back in with mom and dad. I want my own place. I can't even rent in my own hometown. So
Yeah,
now
that's a problem.
I'm going to go set up roots, and I'm going to, meet my significant other, and I'm going to set up roots, and maybe we're going to have children. Maybe it's the two-legged kind, maybe it's the four-legged kind. And we're going to set up roots in a different community, and we're not coming back. And I think some communities are setting themselves up to become that stagnant community down the road because they're not having that.
They're not promoting growth the way they should.
And one of our past presidents, Judy Pinozzo, outstanding real estate agent with Real People Realty, talks about this. It's obtainable housing. Everybody wants to use, affordable housing, no, it's obtainable housing that we're really focusing on. I mean, something where the average person can start off their shoes and get their feet wet. Prime example. Last week I closed, and Karen was the lender on this. We closed an 18-year-old buyer. 18 years old, that individual. You want to talk about what the difference is on impact between, individuals. Look at the difference between home ownership and non-home ownership. I'm going to tell you, those that are struggling financially are non-homeowners. I'm not saying a homeowner doesn't struggle, but they have that safety net. They have that aspect we talk about on the air all the time about, okay, when do you go back and refinance your house? Pay off large, huge debt if you run into an issue. Start a new business.
Go back to school.
Education. These are the three big issues we focus on and discuss all the time. And I think some of this, they don't have all of the language in place. These are just kind of more ideas that they're looking to pass. But I think these are going to be some pretty good ideas, and we'll see where it goes. The last is supporting minority businesses. The federal government will grow its contract activity with small, disadvantaged businesses by 50%, an additional $100 billion over 5 years. Additionally, a new $31 billion investment in small business programs aims to increase access to capital and providing mentoring networks and other forms of technical assistance to social and economically disadvantaged businesses. And the more businesses we can get up and create, the more jobs we have, and more opportunities we have
It's
for
opportunity for all.
Yeah.
It's stability in neighborhoods.
Absolutely. So, I know it'll be depending on how the final language comes out and what's actually going on, and to see where we're going. But these, I think, are some really nice steps, especially looking at the aspect of the appraisal and really zoning in on that appraisal aspect. So, buying a home is still affordable, believe it or not. So, what are the three main factors, Karen, that go into determining how affordable a home is for buyers?
Mortgage rates, mortgage payments as a percentage of income, and home prices.
Absolutely. And I think there's one thing that we talk about here that's not into it, and that is your wage increases. Now, I'm not talking future wage increases. They went down that road back in 2008. I'm talking, did you get a increase in your wage in the last 12 months? And we're seeing that wage increase come in and play in effect. I think that has helped a lot of our buyers. Mm-hmm. These low rates, honestly, Nancy, low rates. Do you remember a rate?
No. These rates are amazing.
Do you remember what you bought your first house at? I know we said it on air before. What was the rate for your first house?
You paid a lot more. I was like 10.4.
No, I didn't pay 10.4.
I was 9.75.
9.75?
I'm on FHA.
So I was because I bought right before the collapse in 06. All right. I paid 6.5 on the first, and I paid 9.6 on the second. I had an 80/20.
Okay. I had a 3.5% down FHA. It would have been 1985.
I'm going to correct you. you had a 2.5%
Oh, was
down
it?
FHA.
Oh, no, maybe it was 3.
No, it was
Was
2.5%, and after
When did it go to 3?
it went to 3.5%.
No, recently it was 3 for when I first started the industry. It was 3, and then it went to 3.5.
No, it was 2.5, and it went to 3.5.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah,
Let's
it
look
was
that
2.5
up.
and went to 3.5. And everybody freaked out thinking that extra point was gonna push, and it probably did push people on the market. Let's be honest. Some people didn't have that extra point, but FHA wanted to do that to, hold up their walls and make sure their financial measures were staying strong. So, according to NAR, measures whether or not a typical family earns enough income to qualify a mortgage loan on a typical home at the national regional levels based on the most recent price and data income. So that's how they come up with the affordability housing score. All right. So when they're looking at that housing score, those are the 3 numbers that they look at to determine it. To interpret this, a value of 100 means that a family with median income has enough income to qualify for a mortgage on the median priced home, and an index above 100 signifies that a family earning a median income has more than enough income to qualify for a mortgage loan on a median priced home, assuming a 20% down payment. So an index above 100 signifies that a family earning the median income has enough income to qualify for a mortgage on the loan. All right, going back through and looking at the affordability, homes were the least affordable in 2006 in the most recent data. The affordability score was 108 at that time. All right, the most affordable time were 2012, but 2012 was also the very bottom of our market. Now there was an affordability score of 197 and this is where the market was extremely low and down. Our current affordability score is 174.
Wow.
174 today. And it's even more affordable than 2020, and it's because of these low rates.
Low rates and wages increasing.
The wages increasing, yeah. So I know everybody's on the affordability aspect, but the affordability score is a 174.
What's interesting, Eddie, when you go back to that table really quick, is go back, let's go back to like
the years that were less affordable than this.
Right.
So let's see, 07, 08, 09.
All the way back to like 1996.
Oh yeah, it goes all the way back to 1990 when they first started taking the score. The only years, let's look at the opposite. The only years that were more affordable than today, looks like we were 11, 12, and 13.
12 and 13. Yeah. Interesting.
So I mean that's a big impact on things that are out there. So all right, 3 things to prioritize when you're looking to sell your house. I just ran into this. Price the home correctly, number 1. We talked about it. I think we talked about it last week, where we're seeing a lot of individuals underpricing houses. And you still can have an opportunity if you're underpricing in the market and they're not making that time adjustment we talked about last week. You could be looking at leaving money on the table. Now, number 2.
Just a little quick comment about that pricing. I know sellers see dollar signs. Some sellers see dollar signs because they see all that's going on and the crazy activity and all the multiple offers and the bidding wars, and so their tendency is to want to overprice the house, and that's where the professional comes in, and you do your comps and you do your homework and you show them the sweet spot.
And talking about a great transition, because number 2 is keep your emotions in check. I mean, honestly.
I didn't do that. I did.
I mean, keeping your emotions in check is number 2, and the reason why that plays into it, because when you're talking about overpricing the house, a lot of buyers are looking at, well, it's already overpriced, and then I'm going to probably have to pay 20 grand on top of that. So yeah, I'm not even going to make an offer. So now you're in a position, you overpriced, they think they're going to have to pay 20 grand more, they don't even bother offering. I mean, honestly, that's where they're at right now. Number 3 is, of course, stage your house correctly. So make sure you take out 25% of what's in a room, pack it up and put it away.
And again, this is a crazy market. There's a lot of people coming through. A lot of people are competing. But the better your house is, the better in shape it is. You don't have anything to fix. It's appealing to the home buyer. The more you are going to generate those multiple offers. You want it nice. You don't want it trash.
All right, let's look at Bolingbrook really quick here before we take a break. Median sales price month over month, $285. That's up 12.9%. Average sales price is $294, $282, up 12.6%. And these are still April numbers. I'm hoping next week we'll have the May numbers finally. 104% of original asking price, up 5.9%. That's outstanding. Average market time, 13 days. Inventory of homes left at the end of April, 27. Trailing 12 median price is $277,500, up 9%. You're getting 99% of original list price on the trailing 12. Attached housing, you're looking at a price of $210 on the median, $224.98 on the average, month over month, up 13.4% on the average. Percent of original list price is 101%, 21 average days on market, and month inventory ending at 28 units. So that puts me at 56 different options at the end of April if I want to live in Bolingbrook. 56.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's it.
All right, so when we get back, I want to talk a little bit about having the right expert to get through this market, because I think we're getting into the idea that, oh, I don't need an expert, I can just whatever and my house is going to sell. So I want to really focus in on that, using that team and putting that team together. So stick it here with Get Real with Eddie. Welcome back to Get Real with Eddie. Hey, if you want to look at putting that right team together, you give me a call or give Nancy a call. You can reach me at 815-823-5478. That's 815-823-LIST at the Ruettiger Group with Baird Warner, or Nancy at
815-545-1162.
So really getting that right team together, I mean, I think really falls into play. So first off, what does the team have to do? Well, all right, real estate expert. They have to be able to do the contracts. Okay. Now keep in mind, I can't write a contract. I'm allowed under law to fill in blanks. All right. But you want someone that has the ability to get that and understands that contract very well, because that is the tool that is used to negotiate your offer or negotiate your sale. They got to be an expert in everything. They need to understand the sales process. They need to understand how it's changed. Excuse me. They need to understand new things that have come up in the market. I have talked to multiple individuals not understanding what the current term of an appraisal waiver form is. I had somebody that thought they wanted to just waive appraisal completely, and that's not what it is. Right now, if you're in the market and you have an agent, a broker saying, hey, well, we would like you to waive appraisal. Currently, what that means is, what you're making an offer, let's say for $250,000, and the home comes in at $230,000 and it was listed at $225,000. They will give you $230 for the loan. Let's say you were 10% down. All right. Let's even say it was FHA. So FHA, you have to do 3.5% down on the $230, but then you still have to come up with the other 20 grand of difference between $230 to $250 if you're waiving appraisal. And there's different ways. Me and Nancy have looked at this. We have different ways we waive appraisal. There's a flat out way. There's also what's the other way we waive appraisal?
From list price.
So as long as it hits list price, then you're good. So there's a couple different ways of doing this, and you need to be up to date and make sure they understand this if you're looking for the expert that's going to work for you. Negotiations, I think, is the biggest reason. You are not hiring me to find you a house, in my opinion, when you can go online nowadays and look at 6 million houses in 30 seconds. You might miss 1% of the mark of what it's out there. But honestly, that's not why you hire me. I've told this to my clients. Nancy knows this. Michael Jordan was the best basketball player ever. He still had an agent, and his agent negotiated out his deals with the Chicago Bulls. And that is why you hire a real estate agent, hands down. They should be an expert in negotiation classes. If they don't look at you and say, yeah, I've been thrown out of poker games, you should really think about it, honestly. Because, yeah, and yes, I have been thrown out of a poker game. Or I should say, I wasn't thrown out. I was told, yeah, you're never allowed to come back and play with us. Kind of took them for their money that night. We simply, education. Are they staying up on current education and their discipline? There's a lot of word vomit on our cards. I have it. Nancy has it. I have my ABR, my RENE. Nancy, you've got what?
SRES, RENE, ABR.
These are all designations from the National Association. These are signs. You don't need to know what they mean, but you need to understand that, guess what? We're taking our job seriously, and we're continuing our education beyond our license to make sure we are an expert in the field. And last but not least, pricing. They need to understand where the pricing is, like we've talked already this week, and we were talking last week about being able to do those time adjustments and know what needs to be done in what market. Karen, me and you have had this conversation, and I know me and Nancy have had the conversation. FHA offers.
Yeah.
We are in certain markets, in certain areas. If you have to go FHA, there is a very low chance of you getting an offer accepted right now, because not because you're a bad buyer, or because it is that competitive. There is that many conventional or even cash offers. So you are getting beat out. So a couple things you can do. Look at different areas if you see yourself. You may have to change your area that you want because you may be in too competitive of a market. I think the other aspect that you look at is you look at can you get yourself qualified conventionally? How often are you trying to flip people over from FHA to conventional?
That's actually kind of changed. I'm a big advocate of the conventional first-time homebuyer programs, Home Ready and Home Possible, but those guidelines have strictened up. They've tightened up a little bit.
Yeah.
So we're finding ourselves having to go FHA with some of these borrowers. And there's nothing wrong with that. It may be, what listing agents need to realize, we may have an easier time doing that FHA loan than trying to push that borderline borrower into a conventional product.
I agree. It's about, they're taking conventional offers or advising their sellers to take a conventional offer.
And you don't know if you have a borderline conventional borrower.
They're because they're trying to say, well, it's got a better chance of closing. It's got a better chance of closing. No, not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Not with the guidelines.
And sellers have that. Sellers have their own ideas too, and they're hesitant to take those FHA loans.
But it's also our job as an industry to educate as to why and what's going on with our industry, and why those. It's not such a bad idea you know, if you know, especially in the environment we're in, if you've got that borderline, let's say everything is in check and it's a matter of debt to income ratios, and now you've just had to offer an additional $10,000 to get the deal. Well, now you're at 51%. Oh boy, I'm scrambling. Now you just, I've got to have him pay off something, do this, jump through a hoop, versus FHA. It would be easier to go FHA than to keep that conventional.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good point.
And I think the last aspect is, and we're starting to see it industry, but we're not reacting, but I'm seeing individuals that are FHA walk away from a single family house and they're looking more attached or detached
Correct.
properties. They're looking at the 3-bedroom townhouse, 3-bedroom duplex. You still have those 3 bedrooms out there. Yes, I know in those they're very hard to find, but there's still options out there that you could really take advantage of. And I'm seeing that being a success because the multiple offers and high competition primarily is in that traditional 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage with a basement.
In a certain price point too. You
And
have a certain I mean, if you get over the price point, the competition's not as great.
And in school district comes into play with that too.
Correct.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so there's more schools. Certain school districts are in higher demand than others in our marketplace. So I think that is a big aspect of it. Going the step further about just what the real estate agent does. Also, your lender is a key part of that team.
Yes.
If your lender is not doing the 5 steps, if they are not pulling your credit, all right, which most do. I've had one pre-approval that I've had to validate for a seller. Actually, they did not pull credit. I swear to God. But they should be asking you for documentation, tax returns, pay stubs, things along that nature. They should be verifying your down payment, asking you for that proof, whether it's 3.5%, 3%, 5, 10. They need something in writing to verify that down payment. They should be putting you through auto underwriting. They take all your information off of the paperwork, put it in the computer, and spit out a yes or a no. It's that simple. And then last but not least, they should definitely be asking you, in our marketplace, what are the property taxes on the market or that you're looking for a property you most likely would buy? Because our property taxes, I do think, swing a pretty hefty amount. Anywhere from I seen $1,200 to $3,000, depending on what they're looking. If they're looking in a very broad area, I also think having
HOA fees too, especially.
Absolutely.
Especially first-time buyers, they really have to be conscientious of taxes versus HOA.
Right. And so the question I probably most often get is, well, how high can I go? How much am I pre-qualified for? And it's not how much. You need to be concerned more with the payments,
Yes.
and then we work backwards because
Yes.
all of those other factors, go into that equation. So it's not so much about how much can I buy, it's what's the payment I can afford.
Yep. Because
Yeah.
here's the thing, if I swing, like I said, from one municipality over to another, and there is a $2,400 change in the property taxes,
That's $200 in that payment.
that's $200 in that payment. And that $200 in that payment could be a $40,000 difference approximately. Because right now at these interest rates, it's probably around, actually it's less than $50 a month, but it's probably around, you're close to $50 a month with the current rates that we're seeing. $40,000 difference versus a $2,400 payment. Same with HOA. If you got an HOA that's $150 or $200 difference, the same thing applies when it comes to purchase price. So honestly, I mean, with this market being as competitive it is, I doing it with Karen, I do it with all the lenders we work with. Okay, I don't care what dollar amount they can buy for. What's the payment they can afford? Because the way you get qualified is based on your monthly payment. All right? They are not concerned on whether it's a $200,000, a $300,000, or a $400,000 house. What they're concerned about is it a $1,500, $2,000, $2,500 payment?
I mean, and I think that's what I do with you, Eddie, is tell you the maximum payment they can afford, and you work backwards from that.
Yeah, because there is a payment calculator in the MLS that I can utilize. And the only last number I need from Karen is, okay, if it's less than 20% down, what is the multiplier for the insurance?
The mortgage insurance.
Mortgage insurance. And it's going to be an estimate. It really is. FHA is always 0.85.
That's not true.
Really?
More than 10% down, I believe, goes to 0.80.
Oh, well, see, I always use 8.5 because
Yeah. You're safe.
my
Yeah,
FHA
you're
buyers are usually going
Usually
that way.
3.5
safe,
or
right.
5.
Yeah.
All right. Before we take off for break, hey, last unit in North Point at Springbank, and I am done as the rep for North Point at Springbank for Lennar. This is their Ridgefield model, 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranch with a full basement, a 3-car garage. Actually, it's a partial basement. I'm sorry, I need to address that. It has the gorgeous sunroom, which expands your square footage to 2,441 square feet. Quartz countertops. We have talked about Lennar and the quality of this build so many times. You get the aquatic center with this. Definitely check this out. The address is 16063 South Suffrage. List price is $490,663, and it is the model. So it is move-in ready and ready for you. So any questions, give me a call with the Ruettiger Group at Baird Warner, 815-823-5478. Again, 815-823-LIST. All right, so stick it here. I want to discuss some future of office meetings when we get back here with Get Real with Eddie. Welcome back to Get Real with Eddie. So I caught this on Realtor Magazine's page, and I think this is a great conversation to look at where things are going with the office meetings and everything like that. So holograms may be coming to the workplace as Zoom fatigue sets in, enabling workers to beam in the office. Yeah, I wonder why I pulled this article.
Gee, wonder why.
As I just finished Star Trek Voyager was it last week? Yeah, last week on Netflix. I rewatched the whole series again. So I know, I'm a nerd. Leave me alone. Now I have to go I think I'm going into Naruto. And I have never watched all of Naruto. I've only got 4 seasons, but I started all over. But that's anime, and that's a whole nother story. I know, I'm a geek. Leave me alone. So the Wall Street Journal reports a number of tech companies unveiling such technology. For example, Google recently unveiled Project Starline, a video chat feature that enables the participants to appear 3-dimensionally. WeWork announced a partnership with the hologram tech company ARHT Media, including our Inc., to bring holograms to 100 WeWork buildings in 16 locations globally. Microsoft announced Microsoft Mesh, which brings 3D images to devices. There's Zoom fatigue. There's a lot of friction to begin on video all day. It is exhausting. Is it how would you say that? Brianna Kimball. Seems like an odd spelling.
It's kind of Brianne maybe.
Or Brianne. I don't think it's
No, just Brianne.
I think it's Brianne.
Okay. The founder and managing partner of Work Life Ventures, which specializes in workplace technologies, told the journal holograms will foster a new style of communication where you will have more frequent interactions. So I thought this was pretty amazing, honestly. And we keep seeing all the information and data, and I do think we'll see a swing in 5 years of pushing people back into the workplace, because they're going to have to keep that culture and keep that culture going. Now, I know it's going to go hybrid, and there's going to be a hybrid version, but I think as you move forward, you may see a decrease in the hybrid, because right now I think they're thinking, 2 days a week in the office versus 3 or 5? and they're going to go down. Right now, a lot of companies are looking at 1 to 2 days a week in the office. I could see it going up to 3 to 4 days a week back in the office. I don't think necessarily.
I think they're experimenting, and I think depending on the type of work you do, even in one company, I think certain departments will need to be there more.
And I think it's going to come down to productivity. It's going to come down to productivity.
Yep.
And I think as a society we proved that we don't always need to be there, but as humans, we do need that.
We
need that community, and we need that
I agree. You need
camaraderie.
That camaraderie, and that goes into that culture aspect of a business, So
that's why I'm voting for the hybrid. I
like the hybrid idea. Yep. Yeah.
Well, and look at our industry. Our industry has pretty much been hybrid for the last 10 years. You don't see real estate agents sitting in the office or lenders or anything. We'll come in for our office meetings and we'll come in for other stuff, for educational pieces, things like that, but you don't see that aspect of it, at all. So it's just an interesting aspect to it. So longer days and sunnier weather means that the conditions to be outside are ready and willing and able, and now it's a good time to upgrade. And some of the changes that people are looking at for a new home is in one of our last articles here before we cut out for the day. Outdoor space is still ranking huge.
Not surprised. People are really motivated by the outdoors and enjoying their home outside their home.
I would do a pool wholeheartedly, but I want the indoor pool. I don't know how I'm going to pull it off. I'm going to have to win the lottery to make it happen, probably. But
there's some great things going on with an indoor pool. Like, obviously, you could use it around here.
That's my point.
But
that's my point.
There's something about laying in the pool, floating with the sun in your face, with a toddy.
What if I get a retractable roof?
Well, either that, or if you have a pool, you have to have the heater.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to have a heater.
Her pool is warmer than some hot tubs I've been in. I'm just going to say this. All right? What temperature you guys get?
Only 90.
90?
She keeps the pool at 90.
Yikes.
She says...
Now, when it's hot, like it was last weekend or whatever, we turn it down so that it doesn't get...
89.
But,
yeah. The drinks get colder.
Yeah. Have a few more, then you just don't feel it. But I'm a wimp. I admit it.
The older I get, the wimpier I get.
And I like it set at 90. That's...
Hey,
I'm no different. We had canal days. What was it, last weekend? And we turned around and we were out at canal days. And it's like, you're in the carnival part with all those rides, And those rides got put up in the last, like 48, 72 hours. Because we were there, it was last Sunday. But they jerk more than like if you go to Disney or Great America.
Oh, yeah.
It's not as smooth. So both me and the wife are like, the little guy's bouncing around wanting to go. He wants to go on the things that he can't go on yet. No fear at all. Put him on the little mini, that little roller coaster.
The kiddie coaster? Yeah.
Jumps right in the front seat. And it's like, okay, do you want to go on it? Do you want to go on it? Because it's going to jerk more than anything.
Whiplash.
Yeah, and you're going to get that. So yeah, we all just like, it comes back into return on investment. Do I want the pain for the thrill? Let's be honest. And going into a cold pool versus, being all cooled off and sun. No. Let's warm the pool up, We just know that return on investment is there. So
I'm going to use it more.
Home gym, home
right.
office, that multi-purpose room, a quiet nook are great other items that you can add in to your home if you are out there looking. It's a great time to upgrade. High demand for your house and low interest rates are just some of the things that came out on this beam that we had out. I think this one's a little bit older. This came out maybe 2 weeks ago, but always a great way to end the show, going forward and see what's going on. So that wraps up just about everything from us here at Get Real with Eddie. Any big plans for the weekend? I got showing houses. So
Showing houses.
Yep.
And then I have a meeting for 100-year task force. Happens to be at my pool.
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
Nice.
So if we're going to have a meeting, we might as well.
have a meeting at Nancy's pool. I think the
Wow.
president of the association may have to attend that
Yeah,
meeting.
hey, you're more
So,
than welcome to
just
attend
gonna-
any meetings.
Yeah, so,
Yes.
you know, there was one big thing I did want to talk about. We have a couple of seconds left, and that was just multiple offers. Are you seeing that?
Yeah, they're saying too
Yeah.
that mortgage applications hit a 13-month low in May.
Okay, so that's interesting.
Yeah,
That's,
I'm seeing just a little bit of fatigue.
I think fatigue could be part of it. I think
You know,
I think that's what it.
yeah,
I see that's kind. Everybody's kind of.
yeah. And I think we'll see that probably
You
through
know.
the 4th of July weekend, and then you know, probably through mid-July, and then I think
Yeah, I think
Kinda
it's
feel
going to
like
pick back up.
pick
I
right back
feel like
up.
it's.
well, and we talked about the moratorium getting lifted, and we'll see how that plays out
Right, so,
and moves
yeah.
forward.
so right people that need to go back to
Yep.
people that are still not working. And, yeah, it's going to be an interesting couple months here, but hopefully for interesting in a good way.
All right, well, that wraps it up for us here at Get Real with Eddie. Stick around for ABC News.
Thanks for listening to Get Real with Eddie. Eddie Ruettiger is a realtor at Baird Warner in Plainfield, license number 475141896. Managing broker Steve Engel. For more information on your neighborhood, call Eddie at 815-823-5478 or visit yourdwellings.com.